Thanks for joining us today. So, my name is Julia, and I'm going to be helping us facilitate the conversation today. Um, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about what year you're currently in school and also what subject you did your research in?
Sure. So I'm a senior in high school right now, and I actually went and made a research proposal on using bioengineering for cardiac muscle regeneration.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. So, um, I want to ask a lot of questions about your specific program. Before I do that, can we walk a couple of weeks back to before you applied? So, did you propose this topic already? Did you have it in mind before you applied to CCIR, or was that something that was developed throughout the process of the course?
well, I knew I wanted to do something related to the heart because that's something that I always like lean towards, like cardiology. But it's something that I thought of during the sessions because our it was based on using bioengineering techniques. And as I was learning, I'm like, okay, wait, we could use this. And yeah, that seems very interesting. Yeah, I want to look into that.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about this specific course then. Is it a Future Scholar course? Is it a one-on-one course? And also, what is the course title?
Yeah, so it was, I think, if I remember correctly, it was a Cambridge Future Scholar course, and it was on using, um, if I think about it, if I want to like get the specific name, it's regenerative medicine and using stem cells, biomaterials, and tissue engineering. Yeah.
Great. So tell us how you went from, you stem cell engineering to specifically, having this technology be related. I'm going to pause a little bit because it's lagging.
Yeah, I think you're
Right,
lagging. I
right.
didn't get that properly.
Yeah. So, my question had to do with, how you went from stem cell engineering, which is a really, really broad area, to something
Mhm.
that's more specific related to the heart. What was that process like?
Well, we were looking towards how stem cells are used in various fields, and I remember we were talking about using stem cells, like converting already differentiated cells back into stem cells, and then using those for other purposes and repurposing them and coding them for different specialized cells. And it was just going on my mind where that could be used. And I think it took me a bit of a while, but I eventually got to the point where, you know, cardiac muscle is something that's degraded and it leads to so many complications. What if we can take that out and replace it with this? And I think that's how I came up with it. It was like a eureka movement, if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, really, it really does sound like that. And what was the, professor or TA's role in, your idea development or execution eventually?
Right. I think both of them worked very well together because we used to have on Saturdays a session with our TA, and then on Sunday we used to have our professor talk to us. And it used to be that we used to learn from our professor, and then our TA used to teach us how we're supposed to use what we learned into like a practical sense. So in that way, I feel like they were both like equally as important and they just work really well together. I think they also had connected and like the way that the teamwork between them was very smooth.
So it sounds like, there was obviously lecture heavy stuff
Hmm.
in the professor section, but then there were a lot of applied things and space for you to get your questions answered in the
Yeah,
teaching portion.
I feel like the TA portion was a place where we all used to just like get a chance to like properly concrete what we actually got from the professor. And like she taught us different things about how we can write papers, right? And like the practical applications of everything else. So I feel like, yeah, it was really helpful in that sense.
So it wasn't just, teaching you specifically about the contents in this area. You mentioned also teaching you how to put together a paper.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
can you tell us more
it's,
about that?
yeah, so we learned how to look at like other, we learned citations in like scientific papers. We learned about how to look at research papers, how to properly identify statistics we want. It's a lot of practical applications that we would be using like as scientists or as researchers if we go forward with it, right? So it's something we could use in the future. One of my favorite things was about how we learned to use PubMed, like because it's really complicated. At least for me, it looked complicated at first and intimidating because there's all this bunch of information that's right at you. And then she said she taught us how to like scroll through it and like go pinpoint the exact papers that we want with like this information that we wanted to use and what we're looking for. So I feel like that was something that I think not only was helpful then, but will be helpful like now on. Like since then, I've been using the same things like so often. It's
Yeah,
genuinely wow.
it's so incredibly important. I think it almost sounds like research research 101 where you're really starting from the basics and learning
Yeah,
how to use PubMed or even Google Scholar, Science Direct, Xavier, like all those different sources. And so I guess to build upon the answer that you just gave, what are some transferable skills that you think you gained from this CCIR experience that you think you can apply to not only your current high school, but also future college or even graduate studies?
right. So as I said, like it's mainly the way of going about the research process, right? Coming up with a question, a problem, right? Looking at other practical applications of if I go into it, how can this be used, right? And then actually doing the research, like the way we use PubMed again, as I said, that I've been using it in high school, and I'm pretty sure I'll be frequently visiting it when I'm in my undergraduate and if I go on for a major sorry, masters, and it's like it also as well as like the scientific way of writing, because they're different papers. So we learned about all those kind of papers. We learned how to write each one of them, and it's like it's also as well like the proper wording, because unlike regular papers that you write, like scientific papers have like a certain tone, format, and then like specific dictionary, like vocabulary that you want to use, right, to make it a more formal and like statutory paper. So I feel like those are skills that I'd be using like a lot frequently as I continue in my education.
Yeah, definitely. I think the latter half of your answers spoke to the specifics of how to execute. And I think what's really unique is also the first part you mentioned, which is a very broad level of thinking. So it almost taught you how to think like an academic, right? How to think like a
Yeah,
scientist, how to think like a researcher. Um, and so now I'm gonna go back to like the nitty gritties a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about, where you currently are in this process? Whether you've already finished writing the paper or whether you're still writing the paper or whether you've, looked into showcasing your paper?
right. So as I said, I actually wrote a research proposal on it, and it's finished as far like with her help, with my TA's help, like we finished it together. Even after like a week after it was over, like we were still working on it a bit to like back polish it. And I'm planning on using it once I go to whichever college or university I go to. I plan on using it there to do my own undergraduate research. I feel like I could look for a professor who's as excited about this topic as I am, and like we could do it together because I know for sure that it's not something that I would have the experience to do on my own, right? But it's something that I would really look forward to working on together.
Yeah, and this almost helps you clarify a little bit what you're looking for in your colleges. Um, and so, can you also tell us a little bit about, whether or not you've already delved into the college application process and how that sort of, are you including the stuff that you've gleaned from this experience in your Common App essays, for instance? What is that
Yeah,
process like?
yeah, so I've already finished my college applications, and I for sure used this experience in my essays as well as my extracurricular activities. I feel like it's something really valuable because it's something I can showcase that this is what I was able to do and take part, especially with like Cambridge. So it's something that was really a really valuable experience, and I feel like it's also shown me like what I'm looking for in college, like you said, that I want to go into like places which would support like my interests and would want me to look further into it, you know. So it's really helped me refine tune like where I want to go.
Yeah. Have you even, broadened are you applying to US colleges or also UK colleges? Has it like, changed that direction in any sense at all?
Yeah, so I'm going for pre-med and I was looking into medical schools in UK as well, but I realized that if it would be a bit complicated if I was going to go into medical school in London with all like the policies and the legalities of it. So I decided to go into med school in US, like apply here mainly, but I'm still open to like studying, you know, abroad, like in the future, if not now. I'm definitely open to going there for sure.
Yeah, I think that's also one of the perks of, being in this program is because the professors and also your cohort mates come from like all these different
Everywhere.
parts.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it really gives you a world perspective and almost a different level of enthusiasm knowing that there's people around the world caring about the same kind of things that you're caring about.
I know. Like in my in like in it was a group of us five students, and one of them was from Spain, like a small town, but she was still over here with us, and it was like, okay, wow, yeah, there's a bunch of people. Like I'm not alone, you know. Everyone else is as excited about this stuff as I am, and it's like a motivator, you know, because like when you're in a regular school, there's so many different kinds of people doing different things. You're like, I want to find where other people like me are, so I can get together with them and learn, right? And this is a place where I was able to do exactly that. It was like five of us who are interested in like similar things can get together and learn about something we're all interested in, and it's like motivating you to work harder, if that makes sense. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, this is I'm not alone. This isn't just a boring topic to everyone else. It's something that can be exciting for everyone as well.
Yeah, also just the world is so much bigger than just your high school, or your high school science class, right? And to be able to have that be elevated so many different levels up is honestly really, really incredible at the high school level that you're at. Is there anything that you would have wanted to know going into the program that you now know, that you would like to share with students who maybe are currently looking to apply?
Right. So, something with me, I feel like it was unique to my case. I don't know, it could be with others too. But and during that time, I was also like in my summer break, I also applied for like a physical summer program. But it was really easy because like my TA and my professor were very open to the fact that I was doing multiple things at the same time. And because it was online, I was still able to accommodate most of the sessions. But if I missed it, like they were open to like the idea of me like looking at the recordings, learning there. If I had any doubts, I was able to like just email them, you know, like they were really open and friendly. Like you don't need to be intimidated in reaching them, you know, like yeah, I know they're PhD professors or they're in med school or like to me, I mean, at least to me, it's like if you have a PhD, if you're a doctor or in med school, you're like, oh my God, that's like you're doing what I want to do, you know. And it seems intimidating at first, but like once you get to know them, it's not really that hard. Like it's really easy to talk to them, and like they're really accommodating, so you don't need to worry about that for sure.
That is such good advice. I think so many people even get scared of applying because they feel intimidated of, oh my God, I don't know anything. Are they going to want to talk to me?
No,
Are they going to want to do this? And even when you get it, people get intimidated to reach out and ask questions. But what are they here for, right? They're literally
yeah, they're
here
here
to
for
support your
you.
learning experience. Exactly. And so I think that's such good advice to just not lead with fear, but just lead with trust almost that, these people are here for you and that they will support you through the
I
process.
mean, it's like at one point they were just like this, you know, they didn't know anything either. They had to learn from people who were at their positions where they are now. So it's like they're just passing on what they did. And eventually we're going to be at the same place, you know. So it's like you just have to be open to the idea that they can be friendly, right? They're not monsters or they're not like nothing. It's not like that. You can just be happy to go there.
Yeah, and I think that also speaks to another point, which is um, they also don't know everything about the field, right? So they're also learning and they're just helping you learn. And I think that's just how the science field keeps on moving forward, right? Just constantly this open attitude and to uplift like the next generation of academics, which is you. So yeah, super exciting. Is there anything that I didn't get to ask you today that you would love to share with people?
I think No, I think it was everything that I wanted to talk about for sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. Then thank you so much for, joining us today for the interview. I wish you the best on your paper writing journey that's about to begin. It's going to be a lot, but I guess my reminder to you is to utilize the CCIR resources. There's so much literature review support, so much writing center support, and also later down the line, there's so much conferencing and publication support. So just to utilize all the resources that you can, as well as office hours with the professor, as well as, you always get the chance to ask for a letter of recommendation. So yeah, just maximize the experience. And I also hope you get into like the schools that you want to get into. I think it's so
Thank you.
exciting.
Thank
So
you. Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect.
awesome. Great.
Awesome. All right.
All right, have a
Have a
great
good
day.
day. You too. Thank you.